Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Janai with Karmic Fixer Tarot, and we're beginning our deck study of the Jungian Tarot Deck by Dr. Robert Wang. And here's the deck, and we're actually going to start, oh, there's the book there. We're actually going to start with the Empress card. And this is a card that represents, in this deck, the mother. And we'll be going through a 26-week course of study, starting with the Major Arcana cards. And these cards won't be laid out in the order of the Arcana itself, from the Fool to the World. And we'll be going in different order, studying through the Major Arcana cards as they represent familial archetypes. And the Empress, again, represents the familial archetype, why can't I say that word, of the mother. And so right now, I'm just kind of taking in the card as prescribed by my companion book, the workbook that I'll be using to begin this deck study. And right now I'm sitting quietly, holding the card, and taking a few moments to concentrate on the image. Just maybe doing some intense concentration on the image. I'll be closing my eyes intermittently to try and picture an inner landscape, including the mistress. That was a little bit of a challenge for me, but as I get further into this particular study, hopefully it'll get easier for me to hold the image in my mind. Yep, and this is the workbook I'm using. And so I'm just kind of flipping through the book there, just kind of refreshing myself on the instructions. And this is the first video in what I'm thinking will be a 26-week program. And I think I'm attempting to prop up the card, but it's probably easier for me to just hold the card. And again, I'm taking the images in of the Empress. And there may be some questions as you're taking in the image, maybe some questions that come up as you're interacting with the card. You might be wondering, you can ask audibly or just kind of think to yourself. Now interrogate the card a little bit. Who are you, Empress? And there might be some answers that come up. Me personally, I channel a lot better when I'm writing. So when I journaled after this reflection, that's when a lot of ideas and a lot of keywords and just a lot of feelings about what this card represented came up during the writing. So right now, again, I'm just kind of taking in the image of the card. And in a few moments, I'll just hold the card up if you want to do the same. Now, this book prescribes a program of, say, spending 15 to 20 minutes meditating on the card, no more than 20 minutes, and maybe doing this twice a week. So I'm just kind of taking in the image some more. Now, the goal is to engage in a creative visualization of this card, and that'll come with time. So I'm taking a look at the card some more. I think an alarm was going off there. And try and find a nice quiet place to sit in. I live in a rather noisy old house. You know, there's creaking, whatnot. Find a nice quiet place. And again, if you want to close your eyes and try to visualize the images that you've been taking in. This was a challenge for me, so I'm sitting with my eyes closed for a prolonged period of time, so you might see my eyes pop open here and there. But yeah, here's the Empress. And take a moment to soak in the image. Now she's seated on her throne in the midst of lots of foliage, and she's holding a golden cup This symbolizes the yoni, or the female generative organ. And if we take in the images of this card, they have their similarities to, say, the Rider-Waite-Smith, but there's also some major differences that you've probably noticed if you're familiar with tarot. If we look at the feet of the Empress, look at the images at her feet rather, there's a white dove, and the dove of Venus, representing the goddess of love. And on the other side, there is a cave that represents passage into the underworld. Carl Jung refers to this as a scythonic realm, kind of the underworld realm. And as I was looking at the cards, both of those images, particularly the passageway, brought up some really strong images for me, or some word association rather. So that's what's happening at her feet. And of course, again, she's surrounded by a lot of foliage, a lot of greenery. But in the background was the most striking image for me, the sea monster behind her, just kind of lurking in the ocean. And if we're taking in the image, this is an image that if we look at it, really kind of meditate on it, there's a directness to this image. And this could maybe be, depending on your relationship with your own mother, this could be a rather emotionally charged event, or rather an emotionally charged encounter with this particular type of imagery. For me, this particular imagery of the mother represented somebody pretty withholding, or at least the image. I might save my own personal sort of interpretations of this card for my Substack. I tend to, again, channel and communicate what I'm seeing in the images. I tend to better communicate my interpretations through writing. So if you're interested in maybe a deeper analysis, check out my Substack. But to me, the mother looked rather withholding. There's a stoicism to this mother. I don't necessarily see a warm image of the mother, but please don't allow my analysis or interpretation to color your own interpretation. Now, this could be representative of perhaps your own relationship with your own mother, or maybe with another mother figure in your life, or perhaps if you happen to be a mother, maybe your relationship to motherhood in general. And of course, if my voiceover is distracting you, taking you out of the moment, please feel free to mute me if you like, or to pause and just kind of take in the card at your leisure. Again, this particular practice in this book, recommends no more than 20 minutes of focus with this card, of interaction with this card. But yeah, we'll take another few moments to take in the Empress. Now, how are the images in this card speaking to you? For me, again, the most striking was the sea monster in the waters at her back. The underground, the passage to the scythonic realm at her feet. The dove of Venus. Those are a little bit out of the frame right here. My apologies there. And there's the greenery again. There's the sky that to me seems a bit cloudy. It's not overly dark, but it's not overly bright either. Allow the images to speak to you. What do they represent? How do they strike you as you're interacting with them? Is the Empress speaking to you at this moment? Is there something truly profound coming up? It could also be something that perhaps is a little incoherent or incomprehensible. Maybe it's a nonsense response that's coming up. Maybe an irrational response, perhaps triggered by this particular image. And if it isn't saying anything to you right now, that's all right as well. We'll take another few minutes with the Empress. My fan might be picking up in the background. My apologies if any background sound is taking you out of the moment. And again, if my voiceover is taking you out of this interaction with the card, please feel free to mute. Let's take in the mother archetype as represented by the Empress. And the mother archetype is a very important, pivotal one to the process of self-understanding. Perhaps the study of this card will move us from our inner conversation with our own mother to conversation with the archetypal mother of mythologies and of world religions. The mother is a very fascinating and very pivotal, a very interesting, very vital archetype. I think that'll be something that'll be very interesting about studying this deck, starting with the Major Arcana. In this particular deck, there are two feminine archetypes that I think are recycled throughout this deck. There's the mother and there's the daughter, and we'll get more into the daughter and more into the mother as we continue with this study. I truly hope there's not too much background noise picking up. I had to use a different microphone, so please let me know about the sound quality in the comments below. We'll take maybe a few more moments. And that was our interaction with the Empress card. Let's take a few moments to do some grounding, to take ourselves out of any inner landscape that we might have been able to establish. We could stand up if we need to, maybe stamp our feet on the ground, maybe stretch ourselves out, give ourselves a shake. And that was our interaction with the Empress and our study of tarot psychology. Now I have to note, of course, I'm not a psychologist, but I'm a tarot enthusiast. And I hope to be able to use these cards as a way to get in touch with tarot as a tool for what's the word I'm looking for? For self-reflection. Taking a few moments here to do some breathing. I'm really into it, apparently. And I do hope that you found this fascinating, you found this interesting. And I hope this will be an inspiration for your own deep dives into your own tarot decks. Or if you're interested in this particular tarot deck, I got it from Amazon, but there's so many places. See, I'm yakking while I'm supposed to be cooling down. Just one more breath there. And thank you so much for joining me here on Karmic Fixer Tarot as we deep dive into the Jungian Tarot Deck. My name is Janai, and I hope to see you again next week.